In this lesson, let's talk about node services. When we talk about node services, we talk about services that are managed by the Linux systemd service manager. And these are the container runtime and the kubelet. You can use systemctl to manage them. So systemctl status will show you current status. Systemctl start allows you to manually start it. Do notice that you need sudo privileges in order to manage the state of your services. And notice that pods that are scheduled on a node show as container processes in PSAUX output. Do not use Linux tools, however, to manage pods. We have CRI-CTL if you want to manage pods. Here we have some examples of what you can do to manage services. Let's go check them out. So let me start by using PSAUX pipe grep kubelet, which is showing the kubelet process. It's a Linux process. In the end, they're all Linux processes. Let's do something cool. Kill -9 on 229205 to kill this kubelet process. And oops, that's not permitted, and that makes sense because in order to kill a process, you need sudo privileges. So here we go, and we'll check out what it is doing in just a while. Before we do that, I also would like to check containerd. Now if you are running Kubernetes the way I instructed in this course and you use my scripts, then containerd will be the default container runtime that you are running. And there is one containerd process showing for every single container running on your system. And as you can see, there's many of them. Containerd as well as the kubelet are managed as systemd services. So if I use systemctl status on kubelet, for instance, then what do we see? Hey, that's interesting. Active and running. And you want to know why? Well, I can show you why. If you use sudo systemctl cat on kubelet.service, then we can see the entire configuration. And what do we see? We see that in the service there's a restart as always, and restart sec is set to 10. The meaning of this is pretty simple. If anything happens to kubelet, like I just killed it with kill -9, then we are automatically going to start it again. Systemd is providing some protection to make sure that it is started again if something bad happens to it. And that's actually pretty cool. Now does that also work if we use sudo systemctl stop kubelet? Let's wait for 10 seconds. And now that we are 10 seconds further, we can request the status again. And now we can see inactive and dead, and that is because this was manually brought down. We manually brought down the kubelet, and then it's not going to start automatically again. So this automatic restart is cool, but it only works for disaster and not for intended operations. So I need to use sudo systemctl start kubelet to bring it up again. How about systemctl status on containerd? There we can see the containerd process information, including lots of runtime information about what this containerd process is doing. And oh boy, memory 1.4 gigabyte. 1.4 gigabyte, yeah, that's the amount of memory that is used by all the containers that Kubernetes has delegated to this containerd to run on the worker1 node. Just to give you an impression on resource utilization on this worker1 node from a different perspective. Because there are better ways to get information about resource utilization on cluster nodes. You'll discover those in lesson 7.